Hey dear, yes you. Let's dive into Proverbs chapter 2. This chapter is all about the rewards of seeking God's wisdom. It shows us how wisdom is like a treasure, something incredibly valuable that brings protection, understanding, and blessing to our lives. The chapter opens with a powerful message about searching for wisdom. Verses 1 through 5 say, "My son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God." Here, Solomon is encouraging us to really dig deep into God's wisdom, to seek it like silver and search for it as for hidden treasures. Verse 4. Imagine looking for hidden treasure. You'd put in time, energy, and focus. This is what Proverbs is telling us to do with wisdom. And when we search for it wholeheartedly, verse 5 promises that we'll understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. True wisdom starts with a relationship with God and reverence for Him. Verses 6 through 8 explain that wisdom is a gift directly from God. For the Lord gives wisdom. From His mouth come knowledge and understanding. God isn't hiding wisdom from us. He's offering it to us freely. The passage continues, He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless. Verse 7. This tells us that God's wisdom is not only about knowing the right thing, it's also about protection and security. When we live according to God's wisdom, He shields us from harm. Verse 8 says He guards the course of the just and protects the way of His faithful ones. How incredible to know that God's wisdom not only guides us, but also guards us. In verses 9 through 11, Proverbs highlights what happens when we pursue wisdom. It says, "Then you will understand what is right and just and fair, every good path." Verse 9. God's wisdom helps us see things clearly, to know what's right in a world that often feels confusing. Verse 10 adds, "For wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul." Wisdom isn't just an external set of rules, it's something that transforms us from the inside. It enters our hearts and brings us peace. And verse 11 says, "Discretion will protect you, and understanding will guard you." Living wisely is like having a shield around us, helping us avoid danger and make sound choices. Now, verses 12 to 15 show us how wisdom protects us from harmful influences. It says, "Wisdom will save you from the ways of wicked men, from men whose words are perverse." Verse 12. This is a warning about the kind of people who lead us astray, whose paths lead to darkness and harm. Verse 13 describes these people as those who have left the straight paths to walk in dark ways. Wisdom gives us the discernment to recognize and avoid these harmful paths. This doesn't mean we judge others, but we learn to set boundaries that protect us from negative influences. Verses 16 to 19 go on to say that wisdom also protects us from immoral temptation. It says, "Wisdom will save you also from the adulterous woman, from the wayward woman with her seductive words." Verse 16. While this passage addresses temptation specifically, it's also a reminder that wisdom helps us resist anything that might pull us away from God's path. Verse 19 adds, "None who go to her return or attain the paths of life." It's a serious warning that indulging in temptation can lead to lasting consequences. Wisdom helps us avoid these traps and keeps us on a path that leads to life. The chapter closes with encouragement about walking in righteousness. Verse 20 says, "Thus you will walk in the ways of the good and keep to the paths of the righteous." When we pursue wisdom, we're choosing a life of integrity and peace. Verses 21 to 22 wrap up with a promise and a warning. "For the upright will live in the land, and the blameless will remain in it, but the wicked will be cut off from the land, and the unfaithful will be torn from it." This is a reminder that a life of wisdom leads to lasting blessings, while a life of foolishness ultimately leads to loss. So, as we reflect on Proverbs chapter 2, let's think about how we're seeking wisdom. Are we treating it like a treasure worth searching for? Are we trusting God to protect and guide us on the right path? This chapter shows us that wisdom isn't something we stumble upon, it's something we pursue intentionally. It promises that if we seek it, God will not only give us wisdom, but also protect and bless us along the way. Take a moment today to ask God for this wisdom and commit to searching for it daily. The rewards of God's wisdom are more precious than anything this world can offer. Thank you for joining me in this journey through Proverbs. Let's continue to seek God's wisdom together. See you next time.